What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So do you want to play Super Smash Bros. Ultimate before it comes out? Because, well, a couple of stores are going to actually be getting kiosks that have the demos ready to go. So you should be able to try them out as soon as this week. We're going to go over all of that a little later and some of the DLC content as well that's kind of put out there. And then Fallout 76, well, it's a Fallout game, so yeah, it's already been hacked and modded and stuff. It's crazy, right? I mean, it's not even technically out of beta now, but yeah, it's already getting kind of played around and messed with by the community, and well, some of those issues have raised some concerns about the security of this online game. We're gonna go over all of that as well. As always, guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you do hit the like button. It does help out, and get subscribed if you like all the gaming news and stuff in the morning. And I have some really cool tech waves coming up. I've said that a few times, but there are some cool ones coming up I'm really excited about. Now, first, guys, let's jump into some of the quick news. And we're gonna start with PUBG. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is pretty popular for a while there. It's been kinda slowly dropping in popularity after Fortnite really took over, and then Call of Duty Black Ops 4 came out with their blackout mode, and yeah, I don't really hear much about PUBG anymore, but one thing that we've kind of known about for a while now is that it is going to the PS4 at some point, and this happened when we saw the leak of the Korean's rating board that rated PUBG for the PlayStation 4, and more we started to figure that it was a timed exclusive, and now it's really starting to get out there that we could be expecting an announcement and release possibly at the same time, possibly at the Game Awards. And this is all coming from Daniel Ahmed, who is a video game industry analyst, and he posted on Reset Era that yeah, that's happening, and they wouldn't be surprised if there was an announcement and release same night on the Game Awards. That would put it at a year of timed exclusivity, which makes sense since they really never they never said it's an absolute Xbox exclusive, it's not going anywhere else. They've always danced around that question. Yeah, it makes sense for what appears to be kind of a waning game with popularity, so why not pop it on the PS4 and see what happens there. And the one thing I'll look at this and say is, man, it's Xbox, Microsoft, they did a lot of advertising for this game, and now it seems like the PS4 is going to benefit from a lot of that advertising. And since that has come out, Eurogamer has also chimed in saying that they have heard the same thing. So, hey, that could be a Game Awards announcement to look forward to. It doesn't shock me. It probably doesn't shock you either that PUBG go into the PS4. Also, I want to quickly touch on what is probably going to be the next strategy by a lot of these bigger companies, since they're kind of shying away from loot boxes, but they still want to figure out how to kind of drive you towards those microtransactions, right? Those things you can buy in-game for real money. Well, Activision has kind of figured out a way to do this in Call of Duty. Technically, it's not new. Technically, but for what they're kind of doing here, it sort of is. And that has to do with artificial grind, but putting a timer on that artificial grind. So Kotaku actually did a full write-up checking out the contraband stream that they're putting out now, where you can work to earn in-game rewards, which pretty much is all about cosmetic stuff, but cosmetics are still very popular in most free games, like a Fortnite, where you do a battle pass, you work towards that. This is a $6 game that has this contraband stream, and then of course you can just buy the cosmetics outright. They found that if you want to get everything, it's about 200 hours and you have 50 days to do it. So yeah, about 4 hours or so of gameplay per day of actually playing. That's that grind that they're introducing to try to really make you feel like you have to buy this stuff unless you're going to spend a good chunk of your time playing this game all the time, and only to have it reset when they do it in the next season, I guess you'd say. So look out for that, because I think we're going to see this incorporated into more and more full price games, and they're going to get the 60 and then of course still do all this extra stuff on top, because we already saw what happened when you sell $500 million worth of games. Well, it's just not enough. Also, Dragon Quest XI has now exceeded 4 million copies sold digitally and physically worldwide. Now, it sounds like a lot. That's because technically it is for a JRPG. That's a great number. But if you really look at where it's sold over 3.1 or so million units in Japan alone, physically through Media Create. It's all there. You can check out the charts for yourself between the 3DS and the PS4 version. A vast majority of this game sold in Japan, which concerns me because that means they still haven't really caught on anywhere else. It's just Japan mostly. I mean, think about that. That means 75 to 80% of this game sold in Japan, because that's not even counting digital sales. So it's a shame to see that it's having a hard time catching on. I'll be curious to see if the Switch version, whenever that decides to come out someday in the far future, if it does anything else for them in the West, and maybe it even picks up some Japanese sales. So maybe they'll end up crossing, when it's all said and done, 4 million copies digitally and physically, just in Japan alone. Either way, at least the franchise is still rolling along, and we can, of course, get the next Dragon Quest, because this one was successful. All right, guys, some of the quick news out of the way. Let's jump into some of the bigger stuff. We're going to start with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. A lot of the news is starting to come out more and more for it, which makes sense, because yeah, we're a month away now, guys. We're a month away from Smash Bros. Ultimate, one of the most packed fighters I think I've ever seen in terms of content on day one, without there being, you know, a couple characters and then like 10 characters day one DLC that you buy. No, this is a very, very packed $60 game. Well, it looks like you won't have to wait until release date to try it out, as according to Best Buy, several of their kiosks, I assume pretty much all of them, are going to be loaded with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate going into the weekend. So if you want to try it out, you can go there and play it for a bit. And this all originated from this tweet you're seeing here from Chase, where they say, so apparently Best Buy Switch kiosks are getting Smash Ultimate demos this week. Maybe other stores are getting them this week too. And then you can actually see right below that Best Buy responded to them saying the cat is out of the bag. So yeah, it looks like you can expect Best Buys in your area, at least, to have Smash Bros. Ultimate. Now, I don't know if that guarantees that every Best Buy is going to have these kiosks. It makes sense for promotional material, right, to promote it and everything. And I don't even know what kind of demo they have, if so many characters are playable, whether maybe they have like 6 characters out of the 74 or whatever is playable. But the fact that you'll be able to try it out and see how it feels and plays and everything in store is pretty cool, especially for people waiting heavily, like seriously waiting on pins and needles for this thing to release. Might be worth going out and checking it out. And I'm sure you'll see more and more people post, especially on social media like Twitter, just them going there and trying it out with pictures or even video. So I would kind of take a look at that. You could technically, I guess, even call your local Best Buy and see if they have the demo there, as it's going to be very popular. I'm sure most of them might even be getting a couple calls about it. So hopefully they'll already know right away. Also, sticking with Smash Bros. Ultimate for a minute, we know there's DLC coming. We know there's 5 characters, 5 stages, and a bunch of music coming with it. Well, one thing we don't know is who's going to be those 5 characters. We still technically don't know, but what we do know right now, after Sakurai put this tweet out, is that, well, they're locked in. This is what the tweet said. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's DLC lineup is now complete. This time, the selection was made entirely by Nintendo. I decide if we can create a fighter based on their selection, then come up with the plan. So this is interesting, because it sounds like, I guess Sakurai was like, yeah, go ahead. You can pick this stuff out, Nintendo, and I'll make it work. It almost feels like maybe he wanted them to like challenge him a bit. That's the thing that's interesting to me. Unless there are business relationships behind the scenes that they want to maybe strengthen by bringing a character in for Smash, because a lot of companies really look at being a part of Smash as a big deal. Obviously, it's great marketing for them. Think about how Fire Emblem got introduced to the Western audience. It's because of Smash. These Fire Emblem characters showed up, and we're like, what's this Fire Emblem stuff? What is this? And now Fire Emblem's pretty popular as to where it was back in the GameCube days when they started showing up. It really is impressive what Smash can do if you put a character in it. And I can see how some companies look at that and talk to Nintendo, and Nintendo talks to them, and they say, hey, let's get this character in Smash, and then you can maybe work with us. We can get a game going here on the Switch. It is interesting. A lot of people and companies see it as almost an honor, but they definitely see it as marketing hype to get into Smash. So maybe Nintendo, maybe they talked to Sakurai and said, hey, we have all these relationships set up and we'd like to strengthen them. Or maybe they want to get a character that they've had going for a while, like way back when, maybe bring them up, or maybe just have something in mind that would be fun to add into Smash. Interesting though, like I said, that Sakurai didn't pick these characters. It was Nintendo, and he's going to make it work. So, I mean, hats off to Sakurai. He's up for any challenge, it seems, you know. It doesn't matter. I mean, he already built Smash Bros. Ultimate with all these characters, which is insane in the first place. Now he's saying, yeah, I'll go ahead and blindfold myself, put characters in front of me, and I'll make them work. Next up, let's talk about the world of Final Fantasy, specifically the world of Final Fantasy around Final Fantasy VII Remake. This game has kind of become a joke online at this point, because we don't know if it's ever coming out after all the development trouble and issues they had. But it sounds like when they do Final Fantasy VII Remake, they don't necessarily just want to do Final Fantasy VII, the core game, as they're looking at other developments and projects around Final Fantasy VII. If you remember, Final Fantasy VII had a lot of offshoots in terms of games, and actually, this was in an interview with Nomura saying, not everyone may know this, but I'm remaking Final Fantasy VII. Right now I'm concentrating on Kingdom Hearts 3, but when that's finished, Final Fantasy 7 will be where I head next. I'm thinking about ideas regarding the remake's release. I even spoke to producer about it today. All of us old-timers are considering various developments in regards to what accompanies the remake. Like if we manage to do something about the compilation of Final Fantasy 7 titles too, but for the time being, please wait for 7's turn to come. And this was actually in response to fan questions that were taking place at the World Ends With You Final Remix. There was a full event that was held there, and this was Tetsuya Nomura answering a question that seemed to ask, hey, I want to be able to play something like Before Crisis Final Fantasy 7 again before I play Final Fantasy 7 Remake, to which he replies, we're looking at developments around Final Fantasy 7, specifically, I guess, other games. Now, there were a couple. They say Before Crisis, that's a good one, or Crisis Core. I loved Crisis Core. That was on the PSP. I would really like to see them kind of remake that, remaster that, or just port it, move it over to other systems, the Switch, PS4, Xbox One, PC. That's a game I want more people to experience because I really liked the game. I really like the story of Zack. It was very, very interesting to see that, especially since most of us at the time had played 7 first. We had heard about Zack, we didn't know much about him other than what they talked about in 7, which was very brief things. We saw pictures of him. And then we move over to Crisis Core when that released on the PSP years and years later. And it was so interesting to see Zack just have this serious arc, and then at the end it finished the way it had to because we already knew what was going to happen. Great game in terms of the story. The gameplay I think would have done better if they maybe played around with mechanics and moved it over to a console or even something like I said, a handheld like the Switch. Even the Vita could have benefited from that game. But it's interesting to hear that they're looking at things around 7. I know what you're thinking. Let's get Final Fantasy 7 Remake finished first, but that could be a project, the other ones, that maybe another team takes care of and looks at, and they could release it on the road to Final Fantasy 7 Remake. I say the more stuff they want to bring over and remake and port, the better, because some of those games I think people missed out on. I know I keep saying Crisis Core. There was Dirge of Cerberus as well. That was another one, but yeah, let's get Crisis Core moved over. That would be awesome to play that because that leads directly into Final Fantasy 7. That would be a really good one to put out like a year before, and then the next year we get 7 Remake. Next up, let's talk about an interesting collaboration leak that seems to be out there right now. This is actually put up by Joe Merrick over at Cerebi, where you can actually see right here, it's a Tamagotchi. Do you remember those? If you're older, you might remember these. If you were around or aware enough in the 90s, you might remember the Tamagotchi. It was where we took care of a pet. It was a little digitized keychain thing that we would have with us, and you'd have to feed it and clean it and scoop up its poop and everything, and your I guess treatment of it would have it either grow up or die, and then you gotta redo it. They were extremely popular. At school, they would all go off, and teachers would get mad. Yeah, it was a whole thing. It's very interesting to see them going back to the well here for the Tamagotchi, apparently. They say these are leaked documents that they are very confident that these are correct. And I look at this and I say, yeah, this makes a ton of sense, obviously, for Pokemon, right? You have an Eevee one, and you take care of it and everything. And I saw a lot of people going crazy over the idea, and I kind of understand why. It'd be really neat to see that. It makes a lot of sense, promotion around Let's Go. My real question is this going to be a Japan-only thing? Because a lot of these type of things tend to only be in Japan, because they did one a while back for just Pikachu, from what I remember, and it's like impossible to find because they didn't release it anywhere else. So if they only keep it in Japan, that's gonna be a bit of a bummer. That would have been a cool, even like maybe part of a special edition or something they put out. Or I guess just selling in stores, because these would move, especially for people that are nostalgic. Because think about what they're already tapping into the older market, older gamers who remember Yellow in this case, right? They remember Yellow, and at the time, some of us remember Tamagotchi still. Now, our last bit of news, let's talk about Fallout 76, because yeah, it's already getting hacked up like crazy. Nexus Mods already has mods out for the game. The game's not even out yet. According to a lot of these people who are building these mods, a lot of it has to do with Fallout 76 pretty much being Fallout 4, essentially, from a modding standpoint. They're even using the Fallout 4 tools they use when they mod Fallout 4 stuff to mod Fallout 76, and it seems to work. However, one modder actually brought up some concerns specifically around the security of this game. There's a massive Reddit post that's down below in the sources that you're actually going to see here, and some of this was even disputed by Bethesda, which we're going to go over here in a minute. But according to them, things like there are no server checks to verify models or file integrity, terrain and invisible wall collisions is all client side, so you can walk through walls by changing lines of code on your side. And they also talk a bit about how some of the network traffic going back and forth is fairly easy to read, as it's done mostly in text strings, and they were able to see all kinds of stuff going back and forth. That's a bit concerning, I would say, right? Where you can at that point, hack into the game, basically be a massive cheater throughout, and, well, make the game not fun at all for anyone. Now, in a follow-up to this to Eurogamer, Bethesda did confirm that some of these are correct, but they also said not all of them, saying, many of the claims in the thread are either inaccurate or based on incorrect assumptions. The community has, however, called to attention several issues that our team are already actively tracking and planning to roll out fixes for. Our goal is always to deliver a great experience for all our players. Cheating or hacking will not be tolerated. We know our fan base is passionate about modding and customizing their experience in our worlds, and it's something we intend to support down the road. Now, I want to believe Bethesda, but I also see some of their other projects, and I realize this engine that they use really struggles. It's full of glitches, and I don't have a ton of confidence in this game. I mean, they're taking a game that is known to be buggy, glitchy, and everything, and they're throwing online into it and having a bunch of people connect to play together. That does kind of spell disaster, if you ask me. And we've even seen it being played on the Xbox One X, and it struggles on there. It'll run better on PC, obviously, but man, I don't know. This is a game that I'm going to wait on because I want to see how this turns out. It doesn't seem like Bethesda's track record is going to be changing here. It seems like their track record is going to be normal as usual with glitches all over the place and everything, but we'll see, because this is going to be a service-based game. They even said the servers are going to stay up, quote-unquote, forever, so I'll believe that one when I see it. What, in like 2040 we'll still be playing Fallout 76, but they at least seem interested in fixing these things as they've taken some feedback here and they're working through it. We'll see how all this goes down, but I'm not going to be surprised if, like, a week in and we're seeing cheaters and hackers and auto-aim and people running through walls and just a mess. Don't be shocked if that happens, so I will say maybe wait on being an early adopter if you're already not 100% sold on the game. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, make sure to hit the like button. It does help out. If not, hit the dislike. And leave comments down below about everything we talked about today, whether there's the Final Fantasy VII Remake ongoing project that's probably never going to end. Do you want them to start doing other games as well, or do you want them to just focus, get everyone in the office together, and let's build this game? Or would you like to see some of the games come out that maybe work as prequels leading up to 7 Remake? Let me know. And also let me know if you're going to go out to Best Buy and play some Smash Bros. Ultimate possibly over the weekend. I'm curious about that as well. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.